All right, now let's move to our question box. Okay, so we're going to go to our index.html file and create another div. Okay, and give it an ID question. Okay, so now let's style this div using its ID. So first of all, let's give it a width of 400, for example, and a height of 150. Okay, and we're going to need to center it in the page. So we're going to use the margin property. So we're going to need some margin at the top. Okay, and we're going to need the left margin and the right margin to be set to auto so that it's centered, and we're going to use some bottom margin. Okay, so here is our box. So the box is behaving as if these elements don't exist: the score box, the correct box, and the right or the wrong box. Okay, so it's behaving as if these don't exist because they are all positioned absolute. Okay, so we're going to add some margin top. So we're going to use the margin property. Okay, using 4 values. So the first value is going to be for the top margin. I'm going to go for 50 pixels. Second one is the right. I'm going to set it to auto. And then the bottom one, we're going to set it to like 10 pixels. And then the left one is auto as well. And now we can see that our box is positioned in the middle. So let's change its background color. Okay, so let's use our ColorZilla to pick this color. And here we go. We've got our box there. Okay, let's make it slightly bigger. So let's change the width to 450 and okay, the height looks fine. All right, now let's add some box shadow using the box shadow property. Okay, so let's go for 0 pixel for the horizontal value. Okay, because we only want the shadow to appear at the bottom. And for the vertical value, let's go for 4 pixels. Okay, and for the color, I'm going to use this color. Okay, nice blue color. Okay, so our box looks fine. Okay, now let's go to our div and just write some text inside the box to see how it's going to look like. Okay, so let's style text inside the box. So first of all, let's make it bigger. Okay, let's set the font size to 100 pixels, for example. Okay, let's align the text in the center like this. So we're going to use the text align property and set it to center. That looks good. And also we're going to need to change the font family. Okay, so the font family used there is cursive. Okay, so we're gonna go for cursive, and as a fallback, we're gonna go for sans serif. Okay, so if cursive doesn't work, then we're gonna go for sans serif. All right. If the height was bigger, so for example, if you had 350 for the height, then text would appear at the top, and we'd have used the line height property to adjust text in the middle. Okay, just remember that. Okay, Okay, just one more point. The color by default is going to be black, but let's just set the color to black just in case. Okay. All right, now we're going to move to our instruction box. So we're going to create another div. Okay. Let's delete text from the question box. So let's create our instruction div and give it an ID instruction. And let's style it using its ID. Okay. So let's give it a width of 450 as we did with the question. Okay. And a height of 50 pixels. It's quite small. And also let's give it a background color using this color. Okay. Okay. And let's use the margin property to center this div. So we're going to need some margin at the bottom. Okay. So let's just set the top and bottom margin to 10 pixels. Okay. And the left and right margins to auto so that it's centered. Now let's add some text inside the box. Okay. Let's just copy this text and copy it there. Okay. So let's center this text using the text align property and set it to center. And also to center the text vertically, we're going to use the line height property. Okay, and let's go for 20 pixels, 30, 40, or 50, or 45. That looks okay. And finally, let's add some box shadow at the bottom of the box, okay? Using the box shadow property. So again, it's going to be 0 pixel for the horizontal value, and then I'm going to go for 4 pixels for the vertical value, okay? And I'm going to use this dark purple color, okay? So it looks all right. All right, now let's move to the multiple choices box, okay? So we're going to create a div, okay? And inside the div, we're going to place all these boxes. So let's go to our index.html file, create a new div following the instruction div, okay? And let's give it an ID choices, okay? And inside this div, we're going to create 4 divs, 1 div for each of these boxes, okay? So let's give the first box an ID of box 1, okay? Also, we're going to give all these boxes one common class that we're going to use for all the common styling between all these boxes. And we're going to call this class box. Okay, so let's duplicate this. So the second one is for box 2, and then 3, and then 4. Okay. All right. Now let's style these boxes. Let's start with the containing div. Let's start with the containing div, which is of ID choices. So we're going to give it a height of 100 pixels, okay, and a width of 450 as we did with the instruction box. Okay. Let's go for 100 pixels for the height. Okay, and to center it, we are going to use the margin property. Okay, so let's set the top and bottom margins to 5 pixels. Okay, and then auto for the left and right sides. And now we can see that our div looks centered. Okay, so it doesn't need any background color. Okay, so now we can move to the boxes, and let's start with the common class, okay, which is box. So the syntax is dot followed by the name of the class. Let's give each of these boxes a width of 85 pixels and a height of 85 pixels. Okay, so width 85 and height 85. And let's see how it looks. Okay, now let's give them a background color. So we want that to be white. Okay, and to have an inline styling like this, we are going to make them float to the left. Okay, just like that. Okay, and now to create some gap between the boxes, we're gonna add a margin right. So if we go for 20 pixels, that's not enough. We want the last box border to be at the same level as the containing div. So let's increase the margin until we get something like that. Okay, 30 looks too much. If we look at the last box, we will notice that it doesn't have any margin right. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to style the fourth box, okay, which is the box of ID box 4, and we're going to set the margin right of this box to 0. Okay, and now we can still see a gap there, so let's increase the margin right. Okay, so one important point, when we are setting the margin right to the box class, this is going to be affecting all the boxes. Okay, but since this property of margin right of 0 is coming after this one, then it's going to overwrite the margin right property of box 4. Okay, so let's continue adding some more margin there, and it looks like 36 is the right one. Okay, now let's add a little bit of border radius to style the corners of our boxes. Okay, let's go for 2 pixels or 3 pixels. Okay, that looks fine. Okay, and then let's add a cursor property so that we change the cursor to a pointer when we hover on the element. Okay, so we're going to set the cursor property to pointer, and now when we hover on the boxes, we can see that our cursor turns to a pointer or a hand. Okay, okay, now let's add a box shadow property to add some shadow at the bottom of the box. So we're going to set the box shadow using 0 pixel for the horizontal value, okay, because we want the shadow to appear only at the bottom, and we're going to set the vertical value to 4 pixels. And regarding the color, we're going to go for a gray color. Okay, so I'm going to use a black color and make it transparent. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use the RGBA function. Okay, and I'm going to set all the first 3 values to 0 for black. Okay, and then I'm going to go for a transparency value of 0.2. Okay, and now we can see our shadow there. Okay, it looks great. Okay, now let's add some text inside one of the boxes and style it. Okay, so first we want our text to be centered. Okay, horizontally and vertically. So we're going to use the text align property, and we're going to set it to center. And vertically, we're going to use the line height. And let's try 30, 60. Okay, 80 looks fine. All right. Okay, now let's style the boxes when we hover on them. Okay, so when we hover on a box, okay, we can see that the background color becomes purple. Okay, and also the color of the shadow becomes dark purple color, and the text becomes white. Right, so let's do this. So the syntax is going to be dot followed by the class name and then colon hover. Okay, so first of all, we're going to change the background color. So let's pick this color. Okay, and the text becomes white, so I'm going to set the color property to white. Okay, and the box shadow property is going to change, so you're going to keep the same vertical or horizontal and vertical values, but we're going to change the color, and we're going to go for a dark purple color. Okay, so now when we hover on the boxes, we can see the changes. Okay.